My name is Emily Carter, and I've been married to my husband, Ryan, for 11 years. We've shared laughter, struggles, and countless memories that stitched our lives together, but nothing could have prepared me for what he did on our last anniversary. It was a moment that redefined what love truly meant to me. Our marriage started like any young couple's dream. Ryan was my college sweetheart. We met at a campus volunteer fair. He was helping at the animal shelter booth, and I was signing up for the food drive. He spilled an entire cup of lemonade on my notebook that day, but his apologetic smile was so warm that I couldn't stay mad. That smile would later become my favorite comfort through every hard day. Over the years, life got busier. Between my teaching job and his late nights at the architecture firm, we started living in the same house but in different worlds. Our conversations shortened. Our dinners were quieter. I didn't realize when the love songs that once defined us turned into white noise. We still cared deeply, but our connection was buried under exhaustion and routine. Our 10th anniversary had passed quietly the year before, just dinner, small talk, and a half-hearted toast. But this year, our 11th, I felt something shift in him weeks before the day arrived. He started coming home earlier. He'd ask about my day again, something I hadn't heard in a long time. Sometimes I'd wake up and find a sticky note on the fridge that said, "You've got this." Or, "Don't forget how incredible you are." At first, I thought he was trying to make up for something, maybe guilt or some unspoken regret. My mind raced with doubts that I hated myself for having. But when the anniversary morning came, he woke me up gently, smiling in that familiar, tender way that used to make my heart flutter. "Get dressed," he said. "No questions. Just trust me." He handed me a simple white envelope with my name on it. Inside was a card that read, "A day to remember what we almost forgot, us." We drove out of town, past the suburbs and into the open countryside. I tried guessing where we were going, a picnic, maybe a surprise dinner, but he wouldn't say. He just hummed softly to the radio, his hand resting near mine on the console. The silence wasn't awkward like it used to be. It was peaceful, like we didn't need words anymore. We arrived at an old lake house, one that looked vaguely familiar. When I stepped out of the car, a sudden wave of nostalgia hit me. It was the same place we had stayed at on our honeymoon 11 years ago. My breath caught. He smiled, watching my reaction. "You remember?" "Of course," I said, my voice trembling. "You brought me here again." "Not just brought you," he replied. "I fixed it up. I've been coming here on weekends for the past month." The house, once rustic and worn, now looked like something from a dream. The paint was fresh, the porch repaired, and wildflowers lined the walkway. Inside, everything was soft and warm. Candles, photos from our early years, even the same blanket we'd wrapped ourselves in on that rainy honeymoon night. I stood there, tears threatening to spill. "Ryan, why?" I whispered. He took my hands. "Because somewhere along the way, I realized we've been surviving instead of living. I wanted to remind us where it all started. To remind you of how much you still mean to me." I tried to speak, but words refused to come. He led me outside to the lake's edge, where a small wooden dock stretched over the calm water. A picnic basket was waiting, just like our honeymoon day. He had even packed the same sandwiches, turkey and avocado, with too much mustard. We laughed when I noticed it. As the sun began to set, painting the lake golden rose, he pulled out something from his pocket. It wasn't jewelry or anything fancy, just a folded piece of paper. "Do you remember our vows?" he asked. I nodded. "Of course. I thought maybe it's time we write new ones," he said. "For who we are now." He handed me a pen and another sheet of paper. My hands trembled as I wrote. It wasn't easy to find words big enough for the love that had grown, cracked, and healed through time. When I finished, we read them aloud under the fading sky. He promised to listen more, to never let life steal our laughter. I promised to believe in him again, to stop seeing our love as something past its prime. When I finished reading, tears streamed down both our faces. Then he said the thing that made me completely speechless. "Emily," he said softly, "you once told me your dream was to start your own art studio, but you gave it up because we couldn't afford it." "Well, I've been saving up. And I rented a space downtown. It's yours. Happy anniversary," I gasped. For a moment, I couldn't process it. All the memories of our early years flashed. The sketches I hid in drawers, the late nights where I said, "Maybe someday." He'd remembered everything. I cried then, not because of the gift, but because of what it meant. It wasn't just a studio. It was his way of saying, "I see you again." We spent that night on the porch, wrapped in a blanket, listening to the crickets. We didn't talk much. We didn't need to. Every silence between us was filled with something sacred, something reborn. When we drove back home the next morning, I looked at him differently. The man who had been a stranger beside me in bed for months had become my home again. In the weeks that followed, my studio opened. It was small, but every inch of it carried his love, From the framed photo of our lake house on the wall to the mug that read, "Believe in your colors." Sometimes people say love fades after years of marriage, but I learned something deeper that day. Love doesn't fade, it just waits, quietly, for us to notice it again. And what my husband did on our anniversary didn't just leave me speechless. It gave me my voice back.